Max, Program Manager for the California Opioid Safety Network at the Center for Health Leadership and Practice, a program of the Public Health Institute. You are about to watch a quick take video that has been condensed from its original format to present an example from the field about how the Northern Sierra Opioid Safety Coalition approached strategic planning. Let's get started.
We started to do strategic planning after we had already been around for about 3 years. When we initially started, it was data-driven almost solely. So we formed our coalition in a very reactive response. We were having a lot of overdose deaths, and we knew that we had to do something about it. So we formed a coalition, and just basically the first 3 years was all about building capacity, and it was all about building up programs. There wasn't a lot in our region before we formed that really addressed a lot of these issues in an evidence-based manner. Once we put those things into effect, we were able to see a really sharp decrease in overprescribing and also a decrease in overdose deaths. And we finally got to a point where it dawned on us that we were finally able to be more proactive rather than reactive. And that's when we decided that if we are going to be proactive in this approach, we really needed to plan it out well. When it comes to the data, that certainly plays a part, but there's a lot more to it that we decided to focus on. Part of it was just our own coalition and our own values. We're made up of a whole diverse set of people, ranging from public health to law enforcement, people in the criminal justice system, to people who use drugs themselves. So to be able to compact it, it was kind of difficult because of all these different agencies and all these different sets of people all have different goals in mind. What we decided to do was we really wanted an action plan that was going to be driven by our shared values, but also not only just driven by our shared values, but we wanted to address some of those more important issues. For example, our capacity, what our funding would look like, and just what the abilities of limited staff actually is. We wanted to kind of bring all that into account. We started out with our 2 action teams by doing analyses of internally what our capacity is, and then externally what our threats and opportunities would be. So internally what our strengths are and what our weaknesses are, and then also externally what the environment around us looks like and what we might actually be able to get done. So that was the basis of it. And we did also bring in some of that data into our interventions, but when we took a look at our 5-year planning, we wanted to really just get more of a bigger picture about that. And so it wasn't just, what things are looking like this year as opposed to next year, but what things are going to be looking at in the very, very far future. I guess to do that, what we did was we formed a design team, which was really limited. There was only 4 of us on there, and that did the majority of the facilitating to get the feedback from the greater coalition. And then we had a big planning session that took place. It was an all-day planning session, and we had 21 participants. We tried to limit it to about 20 participants in this, just because we did want to have, feedback from everyone that was there. So we really encouraged, all of our partnering counties to come to the table, and they came, and we were able to get a really good overview of not just Plumas County, but of the whole region and what we needed to work on. But really what mainly guided us is we first off decided to select our vision, and that was based off of our shared values. Our vision, we wanted to imagine that if our work was incredibly successful to the point where we not even believe how successful it would be, then what would our region look like? And that's the ultimate goal. That's the finish line that we try to keep in mind. And then we took a step back, and that's when we decided to envision what our mission is, and really just try to get as concrete as possible and as detailed as possible what it is that we're trying to do and what it is that we're trying to do to be able to reach us to that vision. Then we finally finished the day actually with guiding principles or what these values are, and we ended up selecting I think it was 6 different guiding principles that relate to the whole coalition. This was the main thing that launched our planning, because any sort of intervention that we do, we'll be able to look back towards our vision and our mission and our guiding principles, and if it doesn't match that, then we don't even need to worry about doing it. We just wanted to really identify what it is as our coalition, what we are going to be focusing on. And so that's what is guiding all of it. We also use SWOT analysis, the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, the analysis that we did of the 2 action teams, to basically identify what kind of strategies and what kind of indicators we'd want to be able to use to be able to gauge the successes of those strategies. And that's what we did to develop the work plan. A lot of the actual developing the logic model itself took place outside of the one-day planning session, and it was, though, based off of all the feedback from our coalition. Also, just this more, the 4 people that really did the design team, we sent out every single draft along the way to the full coalition, just really asked for whatever feedback we can get. It was a multi-month process doing the whole thing.